This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details. The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Olivia Flanagan, and thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Happy spring. Weather is looking beautiful out there, and it's getting me so excited for all the outdoor events coming up. It's time for Uxbridge Scugog Life event update. So as we've talked about for the last few weeks, Purplewood Maple Syrup Festival is back for its 50th anniversary of tapping and making maple syrup at the Purple Woods Conservation Area. Every weekend in the month of March, so only 2 weekends left, 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Tickets are $8 for this event. Have to buy them online and make sure to get them quick because there's only 2 weekends left and it's selling out quick. If you're looking for a way to celebrate the PA Day, look no further. Uxbridge PA Day Camp is offering a perfect blend of fun and learning for kids ages 6 to 12. There's creative arts and crafts, science experiments, outdoor adventures, team building games, make new friends, and learn the value of teamwork. It is at the Uxbridge Historical Center. Lots of fun and games and crafts and activities. Just a reminder, Monday, March 31st is a PA Day, and this event is happening from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It costs $46 per kid. Head to the Uxbridge Historical Center website to reserve your spot today. Easter is almost here, and what better way to celebrate Easter than with an egg hunt? The Uxbridge BIA is hosting an Easter extravaganza on Saturday, March 30th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for kids 12 and under, accompanied by a parent. You're welcome to participate in the egg hunt at all participating businesses along Brock and Toronto Street. That is Saturday, March 30th, a free event. Bring the family out. So many activities for the family to enjoy. And just do some egg hunting. The Uxbridge Farmers Market is back every other weekend until April 13th, every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Lots of vendors, shopping locally is so important right now, as we'll talk about in today's episode. Shop different vendors, food and drink, unique handcrafted gifts. That is every Sunday at the Uxbridge Arena Hall. On today's episode, I have 3 amazing guests. We have Emily from Durham Region Foodie Finds to talk about the importance of in-person connections and making friends within the Durham region. Awesome program she's running. Then we have Ingrid from Little Forest Durham talking about what Little Forest Durham is and a new documentary event that is coming to the Regent Theatre. And we have Misty from North Durham Chamber of Commerce here to talk about being named as the new executive director and why shopping locally is so important. I'm your host, Olivia Flanagan on Uxbridge Scugog Life, and we'll see you after the break.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Olivia Flanagan, and for this segment, I am joined by Emily from Durham Region Foodie Finds. Emily, thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much, Olivia.
So do you want to kind of start off talking a little bit about what Durham Region Foodie Finds is all about?
Sure, yeah. So Durham Region Foodie Finds is a local group of Durham Region residents who come together to meet, eat, and repeat. So we go and visit local restaurants and coffee shops and live and local, and it's open to anyone. So anyone from Bowmanville to Pickering, even out here in Uxbridge, can join, and it's free for joining the group.
Awesome. So when did you kind of start this group?
So it was almost a year ago. Next week will be our anniversary, so March
Exciting.
26th. Yes, and it kind of came to me just, I like to say, on a rainy Sunday afternoon. I was thinking that I wanted to have more friends who I could reach out to and say, hey, would you like to try this new or interesting place? And that was really a desire. And I thought, okay, why don't I create that? And I went on to meetup.com and created this group. And our first event was at Uni Sushi in Whitby, and there were 12 people. And so I realized, okay, clearly I wasn't the only one who was looking for the same thing, and it really has just grown from there. So in this past year, we've had 36 dinners at 30 restaurants.
Awesome.
So it's been amazing.
Now, what was that website that you were saying? Meetup.com?
Yes.
Oh, it's
So-
like a website that you can meet people?
Yes, that's right.
That's awesome.
So Meetup has different groups, and Durham Region Foodie Finds is one of them.
Cool. I never knew that was a thing.
Yes.
I know you kind of talk about how COVID affected kind of in-person relationships. How do you kind of think it did that?
Sure, yeah. So I think that COVID really created more distance, and when it was resolved, we still have some of those lingering effects of the pandemic of socialization, social isolation. And what has happened is a lot of people have then worked from home. And so we have more remote workers than ever, which also leads to that social isolation. And really the connection piece that Durham Region Foodie Finds is really what it's all about. So it is for people who, are looking to meet new friends or expand their social circle, or maybe they're even new to the area, or they just want to have a good meal over great conversation.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like now, because things are finally getting better, so many more people want to get out there because you were kind of isolated for so long. So I think what you're doing is amazing. What's kind of like the feedback that you're getting from people at the dinners or the events?
So they love it. The repeat part really actually has been true. So I'll tell you one example. Last week we had someone who went to the coffee on Wednesday. So we have Get Out Coffee and Conversation every Wednesday at a local cafes across Durham region, and so someone went to that, and then I met her at the Live and Local on Friday, and this evening we have a dinner, and she's going to be joining the dinner.
Fun.
So yeah, and we've had lots of examples like that, even people who might have social anxiety who come out and feel comfortable. And I like to say that people come as strangers and then they leave with a side of friendship.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
it actually happens.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now AI is kind of taking over so many aspects of the world. How do you kind of feel that AI will affect kind of in-person relationships and friendships in the future?
So I think that AI has the potential for many benefits, but I also feel like it will affect social relationships. So lessening the chance of us having real life discussions or real life connections. And I do think that we'll see a decline of people who are leaving their house, more, let's say, to the remote workers. And so I do feel like AI could be a detriment, and people really already, from COVID and all of this mix in this digital world, are craving connection. And I see that more and more. And so I think that a group like this will become much more important when social relationships or social skills are declining.
Yeah, I even saw this article once. It was a survey about would you use AI as a therapist? It's crazy how it's going to take over the world in 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
You've kind of talked a little bit about working from home and stuff. How would you say working from home kind of also affects in-person connections?
Mm-hmm. So I have my own business, and I've worked from home for over 10 years. And although everyone would say, oh, it's so great to work from home, it is. There's many perks, but it also can be lonely. And so I feel like getting out, so our Get Out Coffee and Conversation every Wednesdays is really a good chance for remote workers or anyone who works at home to get out. And it's really just an hour, and that I find that meaningful conversation just totally changes the day. And we know that social interaction can boost mood and lower anxiety and stress and all of that. And so I see that play out time and time again.
For sure. And even on virtual meetings, you can still talk to people, but it's not like that human connection in person, right?
Yes, it will never be the same.
No. So you brought this lovely shirt. It kind of has all the different events that you've hosted, the 3 categories. Mm-hmm. You go to events all in the Durham region. Is there one kind of restaurant or space that you always like to go to?
So we haven't really done too many repeats, but
Okay.
there is one locally that I really enjoyed recently, and that was the Springwood in Whitby. And the reason why I enjoyed that is that was our first time having family style meal, and so they brought out dishes for 4 of us and then another 4 of us. We were together as a group of 8, and that was a really interesting experience, very different from just ordering off a menu and seeing what everyone else gets. So I
Okay.
love that.
Yeah. So how do the kind of restaurant groups work? Do people is it more like buffet style, or you order a meal?
No, it's just like going out with a group of friends.
Okay.
And so you would go onto our website and see which events you would like to go to and choose. And then you just come out, and it's like a group of it sounds weird because
No.
it's strangers, but it turns into a group of friends just sharing
For
meals
sure.
and
Yeah.
separate bills.
And I feel like sorry.
No,
I feel like food connects people almost, because you
it
talk.
does.
It brings up memories and stuff that you can talk about. So how can viewers kind of find out about the events you have coming up?
So they can go to the website, which is foodiefindsfriendship.com. That's FOODIE, and then finds with S. That will take them to the page on the Meetup site. So the group has a page on Meetup. You will need to join Meetup, but it is free to join. And then once you do, request to join the group, and then you'll be able to see all of our events. So there's event calendar, event listing, and you can reserve a spot.
Awesome. And do you have any social media channels that you kind of post on, or just the website?
No, just the website right now, and
Okay,
that's been
perfect.
enough.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what is it like? I know you said you've had over 350 people come out. What is it like to have all those people come on out?
So the thing is that each event can have, let's say between 4 people, 16 people. We've had as many as almost 30. So it's never like you're in this large group or feeling overwhelmed by the number of people. Every time you'll see, okay, some people come to many things, some people will only come to a few things. And so you get to meet them and get to know them. And that really facilitates the friendship, because, it takes time to get to know someone and allow people to get to know you. And so if you come out more often, then there's a greater chance of meeting people. And
For
yes,
sure.
yes.
So if you're looking to make more friends within the Durham region, come on out to Durham Region Foodie Finds. Emily, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Olivia.
And we'll be back after the break.
Unbelievable. You just never see that. What a shot. Scores!
The OHL on Rogers TV.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life, and for this segment, I am joined with Ingrid from Little Forest Durham. Ingrid, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, you're kind of here to talk today about Little Forest Durham and a new documentary event that is coming to the Durham region, right?
Yes.
So, would you like to start off talking a little bit about your role and what Little Forest Durham is?
Yes, absolutely. So I founded Little Forest Durham about a year ago with a group of fellow master gardeners. So we actually decided, and we took our cue from a group in Kingston called Little Forest Kingston. So we borrowed a similar name. And the idea is that we want to plant what are called Miyawaki mini forests, little forests, pocket forests around Durham region. So it's really about engaging with the community to plant these little forests. And the film screening is really about a worldwide movement that's actually doing the same thing in countries in Europe, in the United States, in India, and it started 50 years ago in Japan, actually.
Wow. Now, you kind of talked about how the documentary is a bit of off this book. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the book is about?
So this is a book called Mini Forest Revolution. It's written by Hannah Lewis, who's an American, I think she's an ecologist and researcher. She was living in France at the time and found out about mini forests that were being planted in the community where she was living and decided that she wanted to research it more and write the book. The director of the film, Angelina Lee, is an LA-based independent film director, and she made a movie about a lot of the mini forests that were being planted in Western Europe at the time. And that's really what the film is about. And so we're hosting this at the Regent Theatre in Oshawa on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And you can go to littleforestdurham.ca and the link will be on there to the Regent Theatre to purchase tickets.
Awesome. So do you want to kind of talk a little bit about, you said bringing the community together, but like what really does a mini forest kind of look like?
So a mini forest can be the size of 6 parking spaces, it can be the size of a tennis court, or it could be even much larger. Okay. The typical mini forest that we are planting is typically 200 square meters, so that's a little bit bigger than a tennis court. And the idea is, rather than planting individual trees, which is what a lot of people have been doing, we're planting an entire forest at the same time. And it's what we call a climax forest, which means that you're planting all of the trees that a forest would evolve into over 200 years, but you're doing it all at once. And because you're planting it as a community, you get both competition and cooperation between the trees, and they grow faster, they improve biodiversity, and they certainly help with carbon sequestration, which just basically means you're holding carbon dioxide instead of having it in the air, and soak up rainfall. There's just so many things that a little forest can do that address all of the issues that we're dealing with as we're noticing that climate is changing.
For sure. Now, how would you say that little forests are you kind of just talked about it, but why with climate change are little forests kind of so important?
Well, it's really about community, and there's kind of 2 aspects of community here. One is we have to start thinking of trees as being social beings that are part of a community, which is why instead of just planting a tree in the middle of a grass area, you're planting trees with other trees and shrubs. So you're creating a community. And then it's about us as a human community getting involved at our own community levels. So Little Forest is really about getting the community together, selecting a site where you want to plant it, doing all the preparation for it, and then getting the community together to do the planting. So I'll give you an example. Yeah. I was born in the Netherlands, and she talks about it in the book. And one of the things they're doing there is planting them on school grounds or daycares. The kids are helping to do it with their families, amazing. But they're also helping to monitor that forest as it grows. And that information is being fed into scientists who are then able to see what the impact is on the local biodiversity, the local ecology, the local environment. And it's really stunning, the results that they're seeing. And these are just little kids.
That's awesome, yeah. Now, I know you've planted a little forest within Durham region. Where was that little forest done?
So our first forest was in Uxbridge, at the Fields of Uxbridge, which is at the corner of Main and Ball in Uxbridge. The Township of Uxbridge gave us some space right at the edge of the soccer fields, and we planted that last November. And it's about that size, 200 square meters. It's a bit narrower than a standard because it's just a strip, but we're doing 2 more this year. So we've already got the dates planned for the preparation, and we are already starting the planning for the 2 more that we'll be doing in Uxbridge this year.
Awesome. Now, how are people in the community kind of getting involved in helping plant these little forests? Did you have people come out to the one in Uxbridge before?
We have, through our social media, and of course through the contacts that the Rotary Club of Uxbridge has with people in Uxbridge, we just put calls out for volunteers. And we had no idea how many people would come. So we do a site preparation first, and that's usually done sometime either late spring or early summer, and then we do the planting in the fall. So when we did our site preparation, it was actually July. It was a Saturday morning, and we had over 85 people come out.
Awesome.
It was amazing.
That's amazing.
And then we had a similar response in November when we actually planted the trees. So we planted 600 trees and shrubs in under 2 hours.
Wow.
It was amazing.
That is amazing. So if people are kind of watching that want to get out and help plant them, keep an eye out on Rotary Uxbridge social media.
Rotary Uxbridge will certainly be posting it, and the Township of Uxbridge as well. And we will have it on our social media. littleforestdurham.ca is our website. And if people are interested in volunteering, they can just email us. We'll put their name on a list. And then when we have events that we're doing and specific dates, we just send an email out to people and say, come on out and help.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
And I love the school story of all the kids. It'd be awesome if one day you could get involved with the DDSB and have a school come out. That'd be awesome.
Yes, I've had some requests come from a school in Oshawa, so we're waiting to hear back from that. But we had an under 11 baseball team from Uxbridge participate in the planting.
Fun.
Oh yeah, the kids came.
It's awesome seeing kids get out.
It was amazing, and they were just so jazzed to plant trees. Some kids from a Scouts group, I think they were more teenagers, helped out as well. So it's really great because, as I said, it's about community, but it's also about that generation. Those kids being able to say, as they grow up, I planted those trees. They can go back and they can actually say, I planted them.
For sure. Now, if you want to see the kind of community getting together for these little forests, head to the Regent Theatre website to get your tickets. Is it a ticketed event?
It's a ticketed event.
Okay.
The tickets are $10. Children under 12 are free, and students of Ontario Tech University are free as well.
Awesome. Okay, well, Ingrid, thank you so much for joining me today. We'll be back after the break.
Do you like movies? You do? What a coincidence, because I host a show called Cinema Scene, which features movie reviews and interviews. It's the big screen on the small screen with Cinema Scene.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life, and for this segment I am joined with Misty from the North Durham Chamber of Commerce. Misty, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you're kind of here today to talk a little bit about you being named the new Executive Director of the Commerce.
That's right.
And shopping local.
Yes.
So do you kind of want to start off talking a little bit about the new role, like what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so very excited and honored to have gotten this role. I've had many businesses in Durham over the years, and to be able to help and advocate for businesses is really important to me. I have a kind of a mantra of no business left behind, and so that really is in alignment with the executive director role, and just making sure that everyone feels like they have someone they can turn to in business for support and questions and problem solving and all the things that come with running your own business.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited.
It's very exciting. Yeah. So how would you say that your experience kind of being an entrepreneur and running businesses are kind of going to help you in this position?
So I feel like when you're running your business, there are a million things that you have to deal with, and that's just the making money part, so you can pay the bills.
Yeah.
So there's that, but then there's always the day-to-day. You're always putting out fires, you're always trying to find solutions, and you're always trying to grow. And so I feel with the success that I've had in my businesses over the year, being able to support and guide and make sure that answers are there is going to be, fundamental for the day-to-day putting out fires part. And then my broader vision of what, the North Durham economic landscape looks like, and just making sure we are strong and stable and secure and everyone feels safe.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So now it was previously called the Scugog Chamber of Commerce, and now it just changed to North Durham.
That's
Do you
right.
want to kind of talk a little bit about that transition?
Yeah, so, in an effort to expand our footprint and make sure that all of our friends in our catchment area are taken care of, we made that transition to not just focusing on Scugog, but also bringing in our friends from Uxbridge and Brock and, all of those sort of further regions, and just making sure that they all have the same support and same advocacy that Scugog has had. So it's a nice way to kind of bring our friends in and make sure everyone's protected.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So why is kind of shopping locally important for the community?
I feel, and I've always felt this way, that when you shop local, you're feeding people's families, you're putting food on people's tables, right? And that to me is one of the biggest differences. So when we think about shopping local in light of the recent years and what we're currently going through and what we've been through, it's never been more important to make sure that we're supporting our family. Now, I did take the shop local theme and expanded it to shop local, think local, because I feel like sometimes, you know, I've got 4 kids. I can't do everything in my local stores. Like it is, you know, it's a lot.
Sure.
So I think it's more of a point of do what you can when you can do it. I love gift shopping in downtown stores. Like you are going to find the best gifts, right? I love coffee, and so I can go to my local coffee shop. Like it's things like that. And if we all spent what we could when we could, the impact it would have on our communities and our downtowns would be staggering. People don't realize that $10 will go, you know, a long way in our communities and making sure they're stable. So I'm a big, you know, shop local fan.
Yes, of course.
Shop local, think local. Yeah.
Yes. Now, why is kind of shopping locally so important now?
I think that, you know, there's a really good movie that everyone should watch. It's a Canadian eco-comedy movie called How to Boil a Frog. And if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's hilarious and really informative. But essentially the biggest takeaway from that movie was it is all going to come back to our communities, right? No matter what. With the rising costs, with, you know, economic problems that we run into, everything is going to come back to our communities. And if we don't protect our communities now, we will have nothing to fall back on in the future, right? So everything has to come back to our communities, and it is our job as community citizens to make sure that we shop local, think local, refer local, everything back into our communities so it's there in the future for when we really, really need it.
Do you want to kind of elaborate a little bit more on like your think local kind of slogan?
I do. I love it so much.
Yes.
So my think local is, you know, oftentimes we're not going to have the budget to throw all of our pennies and you know, into that. But we can always refer our local stores. We can always refer our local business owners. We can always, if they have an e-commerce section of their local business, that is easy peasy, right? That can always be utilized. And we can always make sure that, you know, our out-of-town friends, guests, family, they all know what's available. And the other side of that is giving shout-outs. Like social media is very influential, and giving shout-outs when you've had a good experience at a store, or when you've bought something that's been really amazing for your child or your family or whoever, making sure that you're making that visible on, you know, whatever platform you like to use, but making sure you do the shout-outs and the tagging. It's really, really helpful.
For sure. And it's as easy as like choosing a local coffee shop over a big brand, or choosing to get takeout from like a smaller business than a big brand, right?
Yeah. 100%.
How would you say, I actually love your social media topic, how would you say that social media has kind of influenced the shop local kind of campaign almost?
So we have a huge shop local campaign starting in the next sort of month or two and over the summer. And so this is going to be super high touch, super grassroots. And I think if people can remember that, keeping it grassroots, keeping it authentic, and keeping it sort of real, that's really, to me, how these social media campaigns really work. I love this sort of like non-polished, like just get out there and start taking some video or a picture. Who cares if you got your hair done? I don't care. Like that's a kind of, you know, the goal. I've always been in, I have a strong sales and marketing background, and for me the stuff that works well is the gritty stuff. So my focus is to sort of like get out there and just do all of the, you know, go see people, right? Take pictures. I took a really great picture of Metaphor Gallery, and I put it up today because she won a fantastic award. And it's great, right?
Yeah,
like
for
it's
sure.
that's the positivity. Yeah, we want that positivity, and that sort of like, you know, I just popped out and I took this picture and here it is. And that's kind of my goal is to showcase a lot of that really authentic sort of stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's actually amazing how much social media has changed the whole shop local brand.
We have a lot of opportunities.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, Misty, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
It's awesome having you on the show. And congratulations on your new position.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing everything that you do for the downtown businesses. Well, that concludes this week's episode of Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Olivia Flanagan, and we'll see you next week.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.